You know how something can be very obvious and in your face, but for whatever reason, you don't see it until somebody else points it out. And then you're like, oh my God, it has been there all along, but I didn't see it. I had one such moment this evening. So, my friend Kede is currently on a Bible study project with a number of ladies, and the project is basically studying women in the Bible, taking characters, female characters in the Bible, and studying them. And it's so brilliant, right? If you want to join in, the last session for August is going to be this weekend. So I'm going to attach the link. That being said, so she was speaking to me about the whole experience, and then she started to speak about Sarah specifically. Then she said, um, by extension, she spoke about Abraham and how like they waited for a while for the promise. And then she said, you know, Abraham is recorded in scripture that he had about 318 servants. Sorry. Okay, small study. Abraham had about 318 servants. And it means that, you know, with that kind of large household, it means that they were procreating, right? So he was, the way she said it, let me say it in her exact words. She said, it means that maybe every 2 weeks, Abraham was attending a naming ceremony. And you know, as the head of the household, he's probably the one who dedicated the children, who blessed the children, who oversaw the ceremonies that happened to celebrate the birth of the children, while he was still waiting for his own promise to manifest. And for whatever reason, maybe you have thought about it before, but I haven't before. Every single time I thought about the story of Abraham and Sarah, in my mind I isolated them. Do you understand? It was just like two people who had a promise from God and they were holding on to that promise until it manifested. Went through their seasons of weariness too, but they held on to it and then it finally manifested. Right? But I never thought about the fact that they had to actively participate in celebrating the testimonies of other people who had tokens in their hands, proof of the very same things that they were trusting God for, the very same miracles that they were believing, the very same miracle that they were believing for. They were seeing people who were effortlessly stepping into it, and they had to actively participate many times over and over again over the years. Like, just try to do math in your head. 318 men. It means that in a year, you'd have probably hundreds of births, right, from those people. Multiply it by how many years they waited for the promise. Do you understand? It's like they had to consistently do that. They had to consistently carry a newborn child. Sarah had to be as matriarch of the tribe, so tend to children and go congratulate them for how many years. Man, it gave me, in my mind, I just saw the weight of it was greater, what that season was for them. Anyway, I thought about it, right, and how that it's a different thing to be in the same season with people, and if all of you are trusting for the same thing, it's easy. Like, all of you are, you're holding space for each other. But when it's now a case of the people you're believing with now enter into the promise and then it looks like you're left behind, the pain is different. So I really just want to remind you, if you are in that space where you're believing God for something that He has given you as a promise, He has promised you something, and you've probably been in waiting with other people and they have stepped into the promise, but you haven't yet. Scripture says that faithful is He who has promised. In fact, let me pause this so that I can read that scripture verbatim. Alright, it says, let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for He who promised is faithful. And that is recorded in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23. If God has given you a promise, please hold on to it. This is your reminder to hold on to it. And I would also want to read to you a scripture that I have personally taken as a personal scripture, and I've written it on my mirror. Let me read it to you. And I've written my name in it, so I'm going to say my name in it, and you should write your name in it. It says, blessed be the Lord who has given rest to Sanzit according to all He promised. Not one word has failed of all His good promise which He spoke to Sanzit His servant. Not one word will fail. God is faithful. As far as faithfulness is concerned, God is faithful. And I think that you need to remember that, okay, God is faithful. So it's important that you hold on to whatever promise you have received. And as you hold on to it, and as far as you are faithful in doing the things you are meant to be doing, as you are waiting, as you are trusting, one day that promise is going to come to pass, because God is not a fraud, God is not a liar, and God cannot be mocked. Okay, I love you.